Before being trained as a professional seamstress, I always ironed the seam allowance wrong. So I thought I'd show you what you need to know in case you've never heard it before. In general, seam allowance, I always wanted to iron it apart because I thought, yeah, well, it's like nice and flat and yeah, but that's actually not the case. When you are looking from the front, you want a seamless finish, which means the seam allowance needs to be ironed to the front. And when you look like this, it is nice and flush and you can't see the seam. But when you look from the other side, you can look into the seam, which is not as nice, and that's not what you want. So that's why you would generally iron side seams to the front. With darts, we would actually iron the darts upwards. I also always did that wrong initially before I learned better. And with the darts, you just want to kind of prevent that you create a pocket where you can collect dust. When you are looking at someone, you're hardly ever looking from below upwards. So you always look from the top down because our heads usually are higher than the bust, which makes it nice and flush. That's why you would iron it upwards. Now this is specifically for pants, but this you would always want to iron towards one side, because when you iron it apart and you look from the outside or the back and you pull apart, you get a little gap, and that's what you really don't want. Also, this is specific to the pants. You would always want to sew this twice with your sewing machine, and you just go right on top of your first stitch. This makes sure that when you're squatting, cycling, or whatever you're doing, that you're not going to have an accident and show something you don't want to show.